John D. Rockefeller wasn't just rich, he was the embodiment of wealth itself. The world's first billionaire, the man who built an empire so vast, it reshaped the American economy. But every empire casts a shadow, and Rockefeller's was no exception. Behind the clean public image lay ruthless strategies, fierce enemies, family scandals, and controversies that would haunt his name for decades. Born on July 8, 1839, in the small farming town of Richford, New York, John Davison Rockefeller grew up in a household divided between discipline and deceit. His father, William Devil Bill Rockefeller, was a smooth-talking con man, a traveling snake oil salesman who lived a double life, fathered children across state lines, and even faced accusations of bigamy. His mother, Eliza, was a devout Baptist, deeply moral, and determined to raise her children with thrift, faith, and discipline. From his father, John absorbed cunning and a keen survival instinct. From his mother, an iron sense of order. It was this dual influence, opportunism laced with discipline, that would define his business style. At 16, Rockefeller landed his first job as a bookkeeper in Cleveland, earning 50 cents a day. He was obsessed with precision, recording every penny he earned and spent. He didn't drink, didn't smoke, and didn't gamble. But he played the long game, always planning for expansion. In 1859, Edwin Drake drilled the first successful oil well in Titusville, Pennsylvania, and the oil boom exploded. Most businessmen chased the thrill of drilling, risky, expensive, and unpredictable. But Rockefeller saw the real gold in refining oil into kerosene, a product in high demand for lighting homes before electricity. In 1863, he invested in a small Cleveland refinery with chemist Samuel Andrews. 2 years later, after a tense auction with his partner Maurice Clark, Rockefeller bought full control for $7,500. It was the first major step toward an empire. In 1870, Rockefeller, his brother William, Andrews, and a few partners formed Standard Oil. The name promised reliability and quality, but behind the branding was a masterclass in corporate warfare. Rockefeller negotiated secret rebates from railroads, cutting shipping costs to levels no competitor could match. He secured drawbacks, where railroads would actually pay him a share of the fees they charged his rivals. If a competitor refused to sell, he would undercut prices until they were drowning in losses, then buy them out cheaply. This wasn't business as usual. This was domination by design. By the late 1870s, Standard Oil controlled over 90% of America's refining capacity. Rockefeller didn't just participate in the market, he became the market. Inside Standard Oil, secrecy was a weapon. Executives and operations often used code names. Rockefeller himself reportedly referred to as Chowder. The company controlled everything from refineries to pipelines, tank cars, storage facilities, and even barrel manufacturing. Every link in the chain was locked under Standard Oil's control. Outsiders saw the market collapse into a monopoly. Insiders saw a clockwork machine running with ruthless precision. Rockefeller's growing power made him enemies, none more famous than journalist Ida Tarbell. Her father had been driven out of business by Standard Oil. Starting in 1902, she published a 19-part expose in McClure's magazine, detailing the secret deals, the price wars, and the corporate espionage. Her reporting outraged the public and fueled the progressive era's push against monopolies. Rockefeller's public image shifted from business genius to robber baron, the man who crushed competition without mercy. Rockefeller's immense wealth and influence fed both real controversies and speculative conspiracies. The Rockefeller Foundation, while responsible for immense philanthropic work, did fund research into eugenics in the early 20th century, programs later linked to Nazi Germany's ideology. Though many philanthropic grants were aimed at public health and education, this part of the record remains one of the darker stains on the family legacy. More fringe conspiracy theories accused Rockefeller of crafting secret covenants for world domination. Entirely false, but evidence of how deeply his name had woven into the mythology of power. And then there were family scandals, from the well-documented philandering of Devil Bill to whispers of illegitimate heirs. Whether true or exaggerated, they fed the idea that the Rockefellers were a dynasty, both powerful and untouchable. The darkest confirmed chapter tied to the Rockefeller name came in 1914 with the Ludlow Massacre. Striking miners at Colorado Fuel and Iron, a company controlled by the Rockefeller family, were living in tent colonies after being evicted from company housing. When tensions flared, the Colorado National Guard and company guards attacked. Tents were set ablaze. At least 25 people were killed, including women and children, some suffocated in underground pits. Although John D. Rockefeller Jr. claimed he had no direct involvement in ordering the violence, public opinion blamed the Rockefellers. The event became a symbol of corporate cruelty and the human cost of industrial power. By 1911, the US Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil violated the Sherman Antitrust Act, ordering it to be split into 34 companies. Among them, Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, and Amoco. Rockefeller didn't fight the breakup. He owned massive shares in each of the new companies, and as they grew, his wealth surged even higher. The breakup intended to dismantle his empire actually made him the world's first billionaire. Despite his ruthless business practices, Rockefeller saw his fortune as a divine trust to be used for the greater good. Over his lifetime, he donated more than $500 million, about $14 billion today. He founded the University of Chicago, the Rockefeller Foundation, and funded groundbreaking medical research that helped eradicate diseases like hookworm. Yet critics argued philanthropy also served to cleanse his public image, a way to rewrite the story of a man whose empire had been built through domination. In his later years, Rockefeller was oddly playful, handing out shiny dimes to children and strangers, a habit that baffled many. He lived quietly at his estates in Florida and New York, playing golf daily and following a strict diet. He died in 1937 at the age of 97, having lived through the Civil War, the rise of industrial America, and the Great Depression. His fortune, adjusted for inflation, would top $400 billion today, making him arguably the richest person in modern history. Rockefeller's legacy is a paradox: visionary industrialist, ruthless monopolist, strategic philanthropist. He didn't just live the American dream. He defined its extremes, both the heights of success and the depths of controversy. And in every corner where power gathers, his shadow still lingers. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating stories. Your support means a lot.